right, another episode of Tech on Ice coming at you. It's raining pretty hard now. I want to talk. I mentioned in my New Year's resolution that I was going to start learning AI more. So wanted to get started with that. So in this episode, we're going to, in my feeble attempt to do like AI and LLM with 101 in like 5 minutes. So bear with me. Hopefully, it will be not factually incorrect, most of it. So let's just get started. Obviously, comment down below if I get something wrong. So let's just start off at the very, very top level with AI, artificial intelligence. So in the entire topic or area of study, there's lots of different areas. The the primary one that we think about the most is what we like to call NLP, or natural language processing, which is an area of study which basically it's pretty self-explanatory. It's taking like natural language and um, being able to understand it to an extent like a human would. Um, and that uses a concept called deep learning, which um, basically takes advantage of something called neural networks. And I think we'll talk about neural networks a little bit more. Basically, it in order to understand how text works or how um, things work, it tries to enact something similar to the brain does by with nodes and things like that. We'll talk about neural networks more in a future episode. So that's NLP, right? So that's an entire area of study. Another area of study, or not an area of study, or an application of, of of AI is what we like to call LLMs, or large language models. And what exactly is a large language model, and how is it different from NLP? LLMs are algorithms, right? Like that's basically what they are. It's computational logic to map text or content into something else that makes sense. So how exactly does it do that? I'm going to oversimplify a lot of this, so I apologize. And this is just based on my understanding, which may or may not be completely correct. But basically, you have this idea of parameters in this world, and parameters it's text, it's context, it's all of those things wrapped up together. And like if you see like GPT-4 has trillions of parameters and whatever, right? But like all that really means is that that's the level of input that is used to train the model. So training, let's talk about training for a second. All training really is just absorbing data and building that network, not a neural network specifically, but um, but that network of context. And how it does that is it basically it takes it like this is the most oversimplified way it's done. It takes text, turns into numbers, and then it correlates those numbers by weighting how close they are to each other from a context perspective. So, like if you have a sentence like the brown fox jumped over the log or whatever that is, right? Like each individual word would have would be represented as a different number, and then they would be weighted in a way that if you were to try to determine the order of that, it would be able to do that with those numbers. That's called transformers. Like that's what transformers do. And after that, when we start talking about like LLMs are just an application of transformers to an extent. And after that point in time, you have some other things that we'll talk about in the future, like embeddings, semantics, and we'll talk about those in a bit more detail. But I wanted to like at a very very high level say like what LLMs are. All it really is takes words and turns them into numbers, and then it takes those numbers and it orders them in a specific way so they have context. So if you say, "Hey, I want to grab information around this particular topic," it correlates that and says, "Okay, what other numbers or what other text is related to that?" And it makes it a very educated guess. It's not 100% accurate every single time, but that's the whole point. That's why humans are so needed. So that's me in 5 minutes talking about LLMs and AI at a high level. I hope I was accurate. And sitting in water that's under 50 degrees, so I might have said something that's probably not 100% truthful. So please correct me down below if I got something wrong, because I'm still learning all this stuff. Um, and if there are other topics in this space that you want me to look into and kind of demystify, I would love to do that for you. And as always, like, subscribe, and share. And I hope you have a good day. Take care.